Sometimes I feel like I'm opening myself up too much. Sometimes I get feedback from people that constructive criticism I don't have a problem with, but if people want to be a little bit nasty about it, I'm not real keen on that. I mean, if you are affected by something that, or moved is a better term, if you're moved by something that I've shared, that's not me, that's on you, that's something that's drawn out of you. And I mean, I obviously don't know everyone in the world, so it can't be a personal shot. It's kind of like a song, you know. Don't just go for a song or like the song because of the words. It's generally the emotion inside that we as individuals get in touch with, that will draw us back to the song or may not draw us back to the song. Spiritual growth. I don't know why I came straight to that on spiritual growth. I truly believe that reflective process in life, what we see out is what we have within. And once we've allowed ourselves that choice or have gained the wisdom of that choice, or that difference, I should say. I'm getting a bit mixed up here. I'll start that again. If we're initiating a not so nice behaviour, addiction, whatever it be, once we gain the knowledge of what that behaviour or addiction is doing, we're then given a choice. That's what I was trying to say. And what we choose to do with that choice will therefore affect us, primarily affect us. Thinking about other people in life as well is obviously something that we as individuals need to do. I use I statements because we is really generalising it, and more often than not when people say we, I find myself not even relating to that. So I think I use I statement. So when I'm really moved by something, or I can truly relate to what something or what someone has shared, I'm then offered a choice as to what I'd like to do about it, and whether I wish to move forward, to grow, to expand my knowledge, whichever it be. That's up to me. But then I need to do the action behind it to gain it. I've said it a couple of times before that, you know, I can be willing to go to the supermarket to get it, but I can sit on my bum for the rest of my life and never get to the supermarket and never gain that knowledge. So I've heard many, many times knowledge is power. And to a degree, I really do think that's true. But probably not in the sense that is somewhat portrayed in movies too much. Power as in, what would I call it? Spiritual power, not so much that physical force, but that spiritual power. Allowing people to see what it is they need to see, or gain the knowledge of whatever that knowledge is that they need to gain. And for myself, to allow myself those spaces, not just in time, but in life itself, so that I can grow. I mean, let's face it, physically, I will grow whether I like it or not. Grey hair, everything goes south, whether you like it or not. But then, you know, maturity and mentally, emotionally, that's a choice. I need to do things to grow in that area. I need to do things to grow in that area. Be it, you know, I'm often listening to tapes. The tapes is pretty 80s, isn't it? I should say I'm listening to CDs, DVDs, love documentaries, things in that area, something that will make my mind tick, something that will keep my mind moving forward. I mean, let's face it, mental illness, the biggest thing that I personally have learned about mental illness is the secret that goes with it. If I can keep a secret or keep it a secret, I'm keeping it alive. But if I can verbalise what's going on within me, and if I can share it with a trusted person, I'm taking that power away from it. I'm taking away the sting. I recently had just a general comment said to me, or shared to me, I should say, in regards to a young girl that I met on the train. And she shared, just as we were sort of getting to the end of our conversation, in which really she was more so venting than anything else. And she felt really, really shameful to share with me that she felt suicidal. And I said to her, that's okay. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. When someone shared that with me, it helped me to realise that if I can acknowledge what's going on inside of me, yes, accept, but acceptance can be very, very hard for me. I'm going to keep using the I statements here. If I can accept what's going on inside of me, it tends to take the sting out of it. Now, I can choose a lot of varied things if I'm feeling suicidal, suicide ideation, however it be. I mean, really, that's just terminology, but it really is quite a serious thing. And I have shared before that because I've lived with this for so long, practically all my life, I feel like I'm quite desensitized to the phrasing that goes along with it, to the feelings that go along with it. I'm not saying that it's right, and I'm not saying that I've got all the answers, because I bloody well have not. And it's just time. I mean, grief. People say, grief takes the sting out of everything. I don't believe so. I truly don't believe so. I can miss someone for the rest of my life and still feel that pang inside of me to want to be able to reach out and speak to that person, to want to be able to spend time with that person and talk with that person. But just because I feel that doesn't mean it's going to be so. I've often wondered, and again, I've shared this many, many times, part of my mental illness is that it can become quite repetitive, and I tend to listen after I've spoken. I tend to listen after I've actually put it on the podcast, and to listen back in a few days' time, I find it quite interesting, because there's things in there that I don't realise that I'm saying, and more often than not, I'm answering my own questions. And when I used to go to AA and NA, etc., the varied 12-step meetings, 9 times out of 10, I would come across my own answer, sharing to it could be a group of 5, 10, it could be a group of 200, really depending on where it is and what's going on. I mean, yeah, it can be quite daunting sharing in front of people at times. and other times it can just flow freely. Really depends on how I'm feeling inside. When I was 19, that was when I first encountered drug psychosis. Mad. It was very scary, and it was just, too much. But it was also the first time I tried to take my life. Now, all of this might seem a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Might seem a bit out there. It might seem that I'm sharing this for attention, and which is completely the opposite. It is not nice having a mental illness. I mean, I can't, especially with PTSD, I can't handle watching, like Happy New Year, and you got all the fucking sparklers and whatever it is going off up in the air. I can't handle that. I cry. I end up hovering in a corner somewhere and crying. I've got to block my ears. I can't handle it. Or I'll go back to my car and sit in my car and cry because I can't handle it. I just can't handle it. I remember when I first watched a movie that, God, I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. The Forrest Gump guy. Tom, I don't know, whatever his name is, and he was in a movie, an army movie, and there was this continuous gun shooting, and you could just, it was just relentless. It just went and went and went and went, and I found myself having to block my ears and having to leave the room because I couldn't handle it. It was just too much. It was just too much. In fact, my experience with mental illness is that absolutely every area of my life has had to slow down. Multitasking is definitely a thing of the past for me, whereas I was forever multitasking and somehow being able to guide myself within all that and getting whatever it is done quickly and finished and moving on to the next thing and I can't do that today. I truly can't. I need to sit back and be a lot more methodical with what I'm choosing to do and take my time with it. Take my time, allow myself to guide me so that I'm not all chaotic, because as soon as I become mentally chaotic, physically I start losing it. And I'm then what I call offered so many different directions that I can go. But what I mean by offered is that these different directions just present themselves. I could end up crying, I could end up screaming, I can end up just losing my shit altogether. It is a lot nicer when things can just be calm and I can stay calm with it. The depression, what can I say? It's the pits. It really is the pits. And again, if I can share what's happening with me depression-wise, I need to take the secret away. There's just something really, really toxic in not sharing in the taboo stuff, and that's exactly what mental health is, taboo. We don't talk about it. You know, I don't want to talk about it because people will think I'm crazy. You know, I need to address those issues, not just once or twice, but continually. If I can learn to continually verbalise what's going on with myself, depression-wise, it just seems to make it, and I use the term really lightly, a bit easier. I'm a bit more gentle on myself. I myself am my own worst critic. I don't need anyone else to judge me because I can do that on my own. And it doesn't matter what the topic is, I can find myself at the bottom of the ladder, you know. It's the silt under the silt, as I've shared before. And it really is not a nice position to be. I don't really know which one's worse than the other. I think they're all on the same rung down the bottom of the bloody ladder. And I mean, you know, I say that with a bit of jest, but there is something funny about mental health. Don't get me wrong, I can have moments of laughter. I can have moments at laughing at myself. They may be few and far between, but I can have those moments. And if anything, I savour those moments. I really do. If depression can have its way with me, you know, I'm just not so much commiserating. I don't get up and say to myself, well, what can I head down, bum up in commiseration today? What can I do? I try not to do any of that at all. But I am very much aware that as a group of people, as a body of people, I don't know what the term is I'm looking for there, it's just not cool to talk about mental health stuff. People can say that it is, but when push comes to shove, they're not that becoming. Truly, they're not that becoming. People can put stuff on their Facebook sites of you know, speak even if your voice shakes, or, you know, I'm here for you, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't always happen that way. It doesn't. I've reached out to so many people when I'm really hitting my peak, and they're too busy. They don't know what to say, or, yeah, they just don't know how to cope with someone else feeling something that doesn't suit them. Be it moves something within them, be it they can relate to what's being said and they don't know how to cope with their own emotion within. Yeah. Life is definitely not easy. Excuse me. And having mental illness on top of that, I say it nearly every time I talk, that I wished I could say something wonderful, something that will, you know, bring revelation to everybody. I mean, I just want to see everybody well. I really do. but it's just not possible. And maybe I'm just putting negative toning on it by saying it's not possible. I really don't know. Yeah. I've had lots of different topics these last few days that I've wanted to talk about. And today, or tonight, seems to be, I'll share something tonight. I'm pretty tired, which is the usual for me. We're doing lots of renovations in the house, which, when I think about it, is a good thing. I painted 5 years ago, 5 years or so, and all the colours are really quite dark, and some of them are really quite drab, and that just gives me a bit of an indication of where I was at. This time, it's a lot lighter. I'm choosing colours that are a lot lighter and brighter and let a lot more light into the house, and that's nice. That's nice. That just tells me that I've grown inside, and putting on some finishing touches, and it's but I will add, I don't ever want to fucking renovate again. I tell you, I just last week I learnt that there are actually people out there that I can tell what I want, I can tell them what I want, and I pay them to make sure it all gets done. And it takes all the bloody stress out of it. Honest to God, I wish to God I did that when I first moved in. But I had no idea that there were people out there that did it. So I'll know for next time. Next time I buy, I'll be buying and not having to do a bloody thing, because it's not fun anymore. I'm getting towards the end of it, and it's just not bloody fun, I had fun when I first started painting and changing things and thinking about various styles and colours and things that I can do. And yeah, it was fun at one stage, but it's not fun anymore. It's just not. And maybe I can put reflection of my mental illness in there, that as to, how much I've grown. And that's not about big noting myself, because there is nothing about big noting myself when it comes to mental illness. There is nothing to big note or gloat about. I'm grateful. That's one thing I've always been, is grateful. Grateful that I can come across various things and I can see the light in it, or the light at the end of the tunnel, for the want of a better word. Yeah. I'll probably check in a few more days' time. Something someone mentioned to me the other day, or not mentioning to me specifically, but I was watching a documentary, and this person was talking about trying to uplift what the monotony in mental illness can be. And they were talking about sharing something, be it funny, something that it might have been something funny from their childhood, something funny that's happened to them as an adult. So I thought, well, I wonder if I can add something like that, just at the end of my sharing, just to try and lighten things. What can I share? What's something funny when I was younger? I used to have long hair, really long hair, blonde hair. And I was baking a cake, a chocolate cake, and I had the ingredients and I was mixing them up with the beaters, and I was leaning forward. My siblings try and tell me I was trying to lick the beaters, but I doubt very much I'd try and lick the beaters at 100 kilometres an hour. I'd lose me bloody tongue, for Christ's sakes. But I leant forward and my hair was at the side and it went straight in the cake batter, and the beaters just went zoop, straight up to the side of my head. And all I could think was pull the plug out of the wall. So I pulled the plug out of the wall and I went racing into the lounge room where my family were, and I've gone, fucking help me, the fucking beaters have got me. And well, everyone just burst out laughing because there was fucking chocolate cake batter mix everywhere. It took my sisters 2.5 hours to untangle the cake batter or the cake beaters out of my hair, and then to wash the batter and whatever out of my hair. But then the following day I go to school and some little shit spat chewing gum in the hair at the base of my neck into my hair. Now, instead of just leaving it and letting it dry and then just pulling that piece out, being young, I've tried to pull it and it's just ended up in a dirty, great big stinking bubblegum clump at the nape of my neck. So then I've had to have my hair cut by my sister, and it wasn't a fucking bowl cut, it was a box head cut. It was just here and just straight across at the back, and oh my God, it looked bloody awful. Yeah, I look at the photos and I just cringe every time. It's made me feel more so sombre than laughing at it. But anyway, there's my first try at something funny. Mental illness, it's not nice. It kills people. I once had a discussion with someone. Is it the mental illness that kills, or is it the person that kills? A bit like the gun thing, is it the gun that kills the people, or the people that uses the gun that kills people? Yeah. A somewhat taboo topic, but a topic that can be spoken about endlessly. And within that topic, there's so much that can be uncovered and discovered that can help people immensely. And just to be able to share about it, if I can help someone else when I'm sharing about this supposed taboo topic, then I've done my job. Not that it's a job, but, then my sharing has been worthwhile if I've helped somebody else. I hope people can understand that. And I don't mean to be negative as I share that, I suppose. Yeah. I hope everyone's doing okay, doing well, and hopefully I'll talk again. Bye.